coming. Oh, Nora.
Hello, Anne-Marie.
Nora, I can't believe it's you.
It's good to see you.
It's really you. Nora. 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 Oh, it's so good to see you. Well, you got a little fatter. You got older and you got a little fatter.
Well, you hit a certain age.
Don't I know it? Oh, come in. Come here. Give me a hug. It's so good to see you. How are you? Come in. There's some chairs. You can take a chair and sit in it.
Don't worry about me. I'm fine.
Now I'm going to sit. My knees aren't good. However, I look on the outside. The insides, it's all a lot worse. And how are your insides?
They're good, Anne-Marie.
Oh, that's good. Mine, I don't know. It's the stomach that feels like it's gone all wrong. But you look good. And if your insides are all in order, I'll take your word for it. I just can't believe it's really you.
Well?
I didn't know. No idea if you'd ever come back round. That first month, and those first 6 months, the first year or 2 or 3 even, there was the thought that maybe you'd show up, come back round. But then the more years that passed, well, you didn't even write. No letters, nothing. 15 years. 15 years. Could have thought you'd gone off and died. I, for the record, never thought you were dead. A lot of people thought you were dead. Other people, not Torvald and the kids, of course. But a lot of people think you're dead.
Okay.
And I look at your clothes, and it looks like you're definitely not destitute.
Nope, not at all.
Looks like the opposite of destitute.
I've done very well.
Oh, that's just so nice. I'm happy to hear that. I never wanted bad things to happen to you.
The house is...
Yes?
It's so...
Different?
From what I remembered.
Same house.
Less stuff.
You forget things.
There was a cuckoo clock used to be here. Is that...
Gone.
The cabinet with the trinkets.
Gone.
And my piano.
That's gone too.
And there, a picture, a portrait. There used to be a picture of my mother.
I mean, of course, anything that was yours got thrown out after you left.
Right. So, how much time do we have?
Until
He gets back.
a few hours.
You're sure?
He's at work.
He still works?
But what I had been thinking, I don't know how you feel about this. I know you're just briefly in town. I know you said in your letter that you'll just be very briefly in town, so I shouldn't tell the kids you're here.
You didn't tell them, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, good, you scared me there.
Not that that would be such a bad idea.
They're grown up. They're grown-ups. They have their lives. Their lives are without me. I see no point.
No, I understand.
Good.
But if you wanted to see them, I'm sure they'd really like to see you, I think.
I disagree. Who am I to them? I'm nobody. They were so young. I'm not a person to them. I don't mean anything.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not so. But that's aside from the point. What I was thinking is that maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to see Torvald while you're here. Just to say hi. Just to, I don't know, see each other. Given how much time has passed, given how things ended, given that you're just passing through, no pressure, real easy, I just think it could be helpful. It could repair something.
Is something broken?
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
You said repair. Is Torvald broken still? Is he still broken over me? I mean, I'm sure.
No.
Good. That's good. So then, he's well.
He's not broken. I didn't mean to make it sound like
Yes, but
he's great. He's good.
he never remarried?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
But I do think he should get a dog. I think if he had a dog, he'd be happier. Not that he's not happy, I don't mean that, but he just likes dogs so much. I see him, he'll see a dog, and he'll get so happy, and likes to pet the dogs, and lets them lick his face, and holds them close. I told him to get a dog, and he said no, and I said why, and he said dogs die. Dogs die. They get sick, their bodies break, they hurt. And when that happens, he'd have to put the thing out of its misery. Cut its throat, or break its neck, or pelt its head with a rock. And he doesn't want to come to love something, only to have to kill it. Well, I sort of wanted to say, but I didn't say, but I wanted to say that I think he's at the point where the dog will probably outlive him. I think that's pretty optimistic to think that he'll be around to put the dog down. Oh, what about you? Tell me about you. What's happened to you?
I'll tell you what. I'm not the same person who left through that door. I'm a very different person.
Yes, I'd imagine.
You really want to know?
Yes, I do. I know nothing.
Guess.
Guess?
You want to know what I've been up to, but I want to know what you thought I was doing. What did you imagine?
Oh, Nora, I don't know.
Certainly you must have imagined something. How could you not? Are you saying you never thought about it?
No.
You wondered, you thought?
Oh, no, of course,
What?
Well, you've done very well.
Well, you know that now, but...
Yes.
You thought I had a very easy time?
No.
Go on.
Okay, well, I thought maybe you might have had a difficult time. Being a woman and being how women are sometimes often treated these days.
You think it would be hard.
That you struggled.
And what would you think if I didn't struggle?
I think you were very lucky.
Lucky?
Fortunate.
Not clever, not resourceful,
No, of course.
But first you think I was lucky. Interesting.
I didn't mean it as an insult.
No, I know. I'm just interested in these sorts of things. I mean, I think it's to be expected that a person would think that after I left this house and my husband and my children that I'd have a very difficult time of it.
The world is a hard place.
So we're trained to think. But I think there's something in our time and place and culture that teaches us to expect and even want for women who leave their families to be punished.
Oh, now, I never said I
Oh,
want...
come on, keep guessing. This is fun. Come on.
Feel like I'm being set up.
I've done well. So, knowing that I've done really well, what do you think I did that did so well?
You've made money.
Right.
A lot.
Yes.
Are you an actress?
No.
A dancer?
Nope.
Something having to do with clothes?
I find it so interesting, the kinds of things you're guessing.
All right, then. Are you a lawyer?
No.
A banker?
No. Now make some serious guesses.
Do you make things?
Sort of, yes and no.
I don't know.
You give up?
I give up.
I write books.
You're a writer?
You're surprised.
You've made money writing?
A lot.
So you're a popular writer?
Women's writing is very popular. There's a big interest in it.
Oh, what do you write?
Books about women.
Okay.
And the kinds of things women do and don't do, and the way the world is towards women, and the ways in which the world is wrong.
Have I heard of these books?
One of them is really controversial.
I think I'd remember if I saw a book that you'd written.
Oh, I don't write under the name Nora. I have a pseudonym.
Oh, well, that's clever.
At first I wasn't sure what to write, so I wrote the first thing that came to mind, which was the story about a woman who lived in a house like this house, and who had a husband like Torvald, and who lived in a marriage which by all appearances, was a good marriage. But for the woman, for my heroine, she felt suffocated, like she had no options, that her life was as his little wife, and this was set in stone, and there could never be the possibility of anything else ever. And so she left her husband and started a life of her own.
So you basically wrote your own story.
With some differences.
Oh, sure, but...
Yes, it's mostly about me, and how I no longer see a reason for marriage.
Oh, now, Nora,
Also, I believe that women who are unhappy in their marriages should refuse to honor the contract and leave.
that's a terrible thing to tell people.
Is it, though? Think about it. Marriage is cruel, and it destroys women's lives.
Oh, I don't know.
Really?
Maybe in some cases.
More than some.
Marriage makes a lot of people very happy, very...
That's debatable. I'd argue that most people would be happier, more fulfilled without it.
You can't say that.
And you can't say that they wouldn't be.
If marriage were so bad, do you really think people would... After all this time of people living on this earth, would people still be getting married?
We do a lot of things that aren't good for us. Things that our parents tell us from an early age. Our parents, our churches, our leaders, everyone tells us we need it, so we believe it. And this idea gets etched inside of our skulls. But we only think we need it because that's all we've ever been told. They tell us it's an expression of love, the ultimate expression of love, the one we're all working towards. But how does that make any sense? To say, I love you, therefore you should tie yourself to me, and you can never leave me, and you can never love anyone else. You're off limits. I own you. I own you. That's what marriage says. To me, that sounds more cruel than kind. Also, when people marry, they say, I choose you, and I choose you forever. But who is this you they're choosing? Because people change over time. People change into different people. So how can you say, I choose this person when this person isn't going to be this person 3 or 5 or 10 years from now? But there you are, committed forever, till death. Stuck either with the person you don't want to be with, or with the person pretending to be a person they no longer are. I mean, I'd even go as far to say people would be happier without marriage. And it will end. I know it. And it will end. 20, 30 years from now, marriage will be a thing of the past. And people from the future will look back on us and they'll think how stupid we are, how sad it is that we put ourselves through this completely unnecessary process of self-torture. So I say, well, just end it. End marriage. And it will end. I know it. 20, 30 years from now, people will have more than one spouse in a lifetime, even many spouses at once. There won't be any lines drawn between couples. There won't be any jealousy because there won't be anything to be jealous of.
But, Nora...
You disagree.
All this is just so...
It seems extreme.
And against the nature.
Nature? What is nature?
Well, that maybe there's a reason why things are the way they are. Why men are the way they are, and women are the way they are. It's been this way for all of human history. Don't you think there's probably a really good reason why it's this way? And you go and you fight it, and that's going to make people very uncomfortable.
I know. That's why at the end of the book she dies.
Who?
The woman in my book. My heroine. Who says all the things I just said to you. Had to kill her off. Oh, the book wouldn't have been published if she didn't die of consumption at the end of it. I wish I didn't have to do that, but I figured it was more important for people to hear her ideas than not at all. And so, but in my mind, it's not so much a literal death as a symbolic one. You know, she sheds her old life and enters into a new one. And it's not like I'm saying anything that anyone doesn't already somewhere in their minds already sort of think. Certainly if they're being completely honest with themselves. Which brings me to the reason I'm here. You see, some women who read my book were so moved by it that they actually went so far as to leave their marriages. And it just so happens that one of these women was married to a particular judge who happens to preside in the particular city where I live. He was mad, and he wanted to find a way to ruin me. So he set out to find out who I was, who I really was behind the name I publicly used. Turns out it isn't all that difficult. All you have to do is threaten to take a publisher to court. So what? Who cares? So what if he knows my real name? What do I have to hide? And he went and did some digging around, and after he'd done his digging, I got a little letter from him that says all the things you'd think he'd say. I know who you really are. I don't like you. I'm really mad, and so on and so on. Until he revealed a secret that not even I knew. He wrote, I know your real name is Nora Helmer.
Yes?
That doesn't seem strange.
That he found out your name?
But my name isn't Nora Helmer. Not Helmer. Not anymore. Anne Marie. Torvald never filed for the divorce. 15 years ago, he was supposed to, but he didn't, and now I find out that he and I are still husband and wife.
I'm sure that's not true. Someone's confused.
At first, I didn't believe it either. So I got someone I knew, a lawyer, to check into it, and it turns out that yes, Torvald never filed for the divorce, and that yes, he and I are still married. Did you know?
No, of course not.
This judge, he says that unless I publicly retract all of my writings, publish a letter, and have it printed in all of the newspapers all over the country, apologize for what I wrote, apologize for encouraging women to leave bad marriages, and say that what I said was wrong and dangerous, that unless I do that, he'll publicly expose me. He'll expose my real name. Expose me as a married woman who claims to be unmarried. I've signed contracts, done business, had lovers, done all sorts of things that married women are not allowed to do, which are illegal, that amount to fraud. This judge could make a lot of trouble for me.
So that's why you're here.
I do plan on seeing Torvald. Tomorrow I will see him and I will ask him for the divorce. Just simply send a letter to the local clerk, just to clear up any confusion and let everyone know that he and I haven't been man and wife for the past 15 years. The clerk files the letter, it's done, crisis averted. It's so easy for him to do it. Easier for him than me. The way they have the laws, the man can get a divorce for no reason at all. But a woman has to prove that he did something awful to me. Threatened my life, committed incest, gave me syphilis. Hopefully, the clerk will file the letter and get it done before the judge tries to follow through on those threats.
And my role in all of this?
Based on even the little you said earlier, it sounds as if he's still upset about what happened between us, and I might need your help.
Oh, well, shit. Shit, Nora, shit.
Are you crying?
I think you gone and misinterpreted what I said. Was it what I said about the dogs? And now you have this picture in your head of him being spiteful and sad and broken and obsessed. Oh, I just wanted... Oh, fuck it all. I just thought it would be nice if after all these years you two could sit together and have a nice talk and have things be nice and normal and maybe even, who knows, but you read too much into the things I say.
Anne-Marie, you didn't do anything wrong. I might need a little more help. We're allies. We go way back. You're like a mother to me. You were practically my mother. You raised me.
Yes, and I also raised your children.
And I'm like a daughter to you. Yes? Isn't that true? Before Torvald, there was you and there was me, and that was it.
I don't like being in the middle of things. Allies, that sounds like war. I like everybody just fine.
Yes, but I'm in a precarious position right now.
Well, so am I, Nora. So am I.
Yes, but you could ask.
I'm interrupting something, aren't I?
Why aren't you at work?
I forgot something. I left papers. I thought I brought them with me to the office. It was a big bound stack about like this. You know what I'm talking about? I could have sworn I took it to the office, but I don't know. I feel like I'm... It doesn't matter. Who's your friend? Are you going to introduce me to your friend?
No.
Oh. Are you? You won't.
Yes.
You are.
I am.
I have to go to the bathroom.
I really thought he'd be out till late. I didn't know. I thought he never comes home during the day. You should go. I think you should go. You
should go. When he comes back, he and I will talk, and when we talk, we'll talk alone. This isn't how I wanted it, but this is how it is, and I'll just deal with it.
You might be in there for a while. I'm pissed. I'm pissed off at you. I don't like how you sprung this on me.
I have to deal with this now. You should go. Are you going to say anything?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. It's not wanting to. It's just that I don't know what to say, really.
That's okay.
I did not expect this. I didn't.
I'm fine just sitting here with you for as long as you want.
I thought a lot about what this would feel like.
What?
This! I wondered what it would feel like if I just ran into you in the street.
And how do you feel,
I feel
Torvald?
shaky. My hand is shaky. My leg is also shaky.
If you want, I can leave. Come back later. All right, I'll leave. I'm leaving.
Tell me why you're here.
Maybe now's not a
No,
good time.
just do it.
Are you going to look at me?
I doubt it. Not yet. Just talk.
What? Here's what it is, Torvald. 15 years ago, you remember that night, I told you you were free. You had no obligation to me. I gave you my ring, you gave me yours. We agreed. We had an agreement that the marriage was done and that you would file for the divorce, and that would be that. 15 years passed. I've been under the impression all this time that we were divorced, until a few weeks ago when I found out that you never filed it. Is that true? Did you never file the divorce? Why?
Did I want you to leave?
No.
I didn't want to divorce you. You wanted that.
Okay, well, can we now agree that you'll do what needs to be done and make the divorce official?
And why do I need to do that?
I would do it myself, but I know that you and I, a man and a woman, in the eyes of the law, do not have equal rights to a divorce. So I do need your help here. I can't do this by myself. You do realize you cannot hold me to something I don't want to be held to. Are you really, after all this time, going to stand in the way of me getting a divorce? It cost you nothing to do it.
You're assuming that it cost me nothing.
What does it cost you?
Maybe not as much as however much that dress costs you.
What? Torvald! All right, let me tell you what it costs me. Because you won't file for the divorce, because you're holding me in a marriage that is not a marriage, you have made me into a criminal.
A criminal?
Yes.
How?
I've behaved as an unmarried woman. I've conducted business that married women are not allowed to conduct without the consent of their husbands. I've signed contracts that are now void. I could be prosecuted and put into prison. And believe me, there are people who would have me prosecuted, who would have me dragged through the mud.
You're that unpopular.
Uh-huh. This doesn't just apply to me, Torvald. This affects you. If you ever wanted to get married again, haven't you ever wanted that?
No.
Not even the possibility?
No, Nora, I haven't. You sort of killed that for me.
Well, just so you know, there have been other men after you, several. I've had lovers. I've had a life. I did what I did, thinking that you were no longer my husband. And now, because you failed to take the action you said you'd take, I'm in danger of having that life taken away from me.
You left. You left me. You walked out that door and you left me. And you left our kids. And when I think back on what happened, I think to myself, I have one big regret. I wish I'd left you. I should have left you before you left me. I should have. And I think back on all those moments when I should have left you. Oh, there are so many.
Were there?
Every time you chastise me for being too serious, or for being too worried about small things, never taking seriously the things that I cared about. Every time you ask me for money, and every time you ask me for money by first telling me how much you love me, as if by telling me you love me would make me give you the money. That's really manipulative, by the way. Every time you ask me to do a favor for one of your friends, oh, you have all these friends, and always it became my responsibility to fix their problems, as if the only meaning I had in your life was my ability to either give you money or to find your friends a job or a place to live, never considering that maybe I didn't have time to help everybody that you thought needed help. And you could tell that the favors you were asking were making me uncomfortable. But you pushed, and you pushed, and you would say things that would make me feel like I was being a wimp or weak. Every time you talked down to me.
You were the one who talked down to me.
Every time you flirted with other men.
I never.
Yes. Every time you made fun of me in front of other men. Every time you rolled your eyes at me.
You did that to me too, all the time.
And when you told me that I was kind, but that being kind wasn't enough to make you want to be with me. Oh, and then there was the moment that you told me that your own needs were more important than taking care of your kids. Your own kids that needed you, missed you, wanted you.
And then there was the moment you told me that you didn't love me anymore. That moment was maybe a minute before you walked out that door. And I wish I didn't take it like I took it.
All right, Torvald. I see that you see me as some kind of a monster, but you're not totally clean here either. You changed what really happened in your mind. You make yourself out into the victim, the blameless, the right, the better one of the two. That's you. That's how you are. You have to be right and superior. This thing you do, this thing that men do, standing in front of women and looking down at them, telling them how the world works, educating them, us, me, at how things should be, like you were some kind of an expert.
And what would happen if we, men, if we didn't? I wonder about that sometimes. Oh, I don't disagree. It happens. We do this, okay? But I wonder if women don't ask men to behave the way we behave in some way.
Really?
If we didn't project some sort of confidence, an assuredness in what we know, or at least think we know, would women even be attracted to men?
Confidence is different.
To stand up straight and lead.
That's different from talking down to me.
How? Explain the difference?
Also, here's another thing that bothers me. You don't get angry.
Of course I do.
Now, maybe once you've ever gotten angry.
Right now, I feel angry.
Right now, you feel angry.
Damn right I do.
I don't think that you are angry, that you're in it, that you're inside the feeling of feeling angry right now. No, you're just outside it, looking at it like it's some interesting thing. You don't act. You're constipated.
Oh.
You're scared. I don't like it that you're scared. It's a really big turnoff.
Sorry, I'm not trying to turn you on right now.
And there it is.
What?
That tone.
Of?
Condescension.
Not standing up for myself?
Yeah, I don't read that as standing up for yourself at all.
Then what is it? What is the difference between me being condescending and standing up for myself? Oh, you won't say, even though I've asked you twice to show me.
Just so you can disprove me.
So you can educate me.
Oh!
I'd like to learn.
You'd like to be right.
I'd like you to stand up and take the lead and teach me something.
I did. 15 years ago, right here,
No.
I did that.
No! What happened 15 years ago? Oh, if you'd like to talk about that, okay! Let's talk about that. Is that you stood here and had your big epiphany. And I thought then, and I think now, that a lot of things you said had a lot of validity. You said that we had never had a serious conversation in 8 years of marriage. And yeah, I think there's some truth to that. We'd been avoiding things, avoiding hurting the other, and all that avoiding of stuff made us liars. Yes, and we have to tell the truth. We have to stick our noses in some shit. We have to. You talk about a true marriage. You said that what we needed was a true marriage. Well, I think that sticking our faces in the shit is a big part of that. But now listen, Nora, and this is where you're wrong. The moment that you realized the problem in our...
let's be real. There was more than one problem.
Oh, I get it. I'm not saying there wasn't. But the moment that you brought the problems to light, you walked out of here. And that's shitty, if you ask me.
How is it?
Shitty? Having epiphanies is easy. It's actually doing something about it that...
My doing something was leaving. That was doing. And that sure as hell wasn't easy.
Easier than staying here and toughing it out with me. Us toughing it out together. Instead, you ran off and you act like this is the same thing as being strong. And I look at you. I think I did so much for you. I loved you and you threw it all away.
But who did you love, really? Because who I was when I was last here, that wasn't me. Oh, you liked that. But what I was doing, that was just for show. All the flitting around, the whole, oh, Torvald, oh, help me. Oh, I can't figure out this or that. I can't do anything myself. Oh, help me. That wasn't me. That was a thing I was doing. Because if I didn't do it, you wouldn't have paid attention to anything that was important to me. I don't think you'd like what I'm actually like. I hurt you. I know that. Don't think I don't know. And I knew what I was doing when I left you. And I knew that what I was doing was very cruel, very harsh. But staying would have been cruel to me.
And our kids?
Don't bring up the children as though that drowns out everything I have to say about why I did what I did or whether what I did was right. Would I have done things differently? Oh, who knows? Would I not do what I did? Absolutely not. No regrets, Torvald. I'm not playing around. It's out of kindness that I'm asking you to file for the divorce and not me. The courts don't care about the reason. It's easier for a man. But for a woman, I have to prove that I deserve the divorce. And in order to deserve the divorce, I have to make you look really bad. I have to ruin you, your reputation, in public record. I have to. I have to. Do you want that? Torvald?
Do it. Do it! I'm not giving you a divorce because you don't deserve for this to be easy. If you're going to ruin me, I want you to have to do it. I want you to decide to do it. I want you to do it so you have to think about what you're doing. You say you'll ruin me. Well, you did that a long time ago, only it happened when you were far, far away. This time, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to be a part of it. All right, that's what I have to say. Anne-Marie! Anne-Marie, stop pretending you're not listening and come in here. I'm leaving, I'm late.
I found your papers.
Show her out when she's ready to leave. Oh, you and I will need to have a talk when I get back, okay?
All right, Anne-Marie. This is the point when I need your help. Torvald won't give me the divorce himself, so now I have limited options on how to get it. Option one is the option where I make up a story that says Torvald did something awful to me, threatened my life or something, and you corroborate that story. Option one would work, but I would never do option one, because option one is just wrong and weak, and it's just ugly and wrong. And option two is where I give in to the judge's demands. I publicly retract all my writings, everything I've said about everything. No, I'd rather die before taking it all back. Option two is also not an option. So, what I need is an option three. Do you know of an option three?
I'm still really pissed at you. I think you should go. He's gone. It's not appropriate for you to be here. You've put me in a bad spot. You've put me in a... Torvald is all I have in the world. It's my only family. He takes care of me. He supports me. Do you know why? He doesn't have to do it. The children are grown up. But he does it because he's grateful to me for sticking around after you ran off, for staying with him through a very difficult time, taking care of the kids, raising the kids, and looking after him. Oh, he was a mess. You have no idea. You can't even begin to imagine. The silence, the not eating, the very dark thoughts he'd think, the shame. And how this must look to him. The thoughts that he must have thought when he saw us together, conspiring behind...
We weren't.
I want you to go. Just go. Leave. There's the door. And I know you know how to use it.
No. I'm not leaving. I'm staying. get a room ready for me.
You're being selfish.
It's my legal right.
No,
If I'm
no,
married
it's
to Torvald, if I'm married to Torvald, then this is my house just as much as it's his house. I deserve to be here. And this is where I'll stay until we're no longer married.
Just take option 2.
Never.
So what? So the judge wants you to write a letter taking back some things you said that you probably shouldn't have said in the first place. So what? So it makes you feel bad?
It's
Well, get
not
over it.
about feelings.
You don't have to run with every feeling you have. You don't have to indulge. Because some feelings make trouble. And here I am. Well, forget about how I feel. I have feelings too. But also my livelihood is at stake.
So is mine. On paper, we're still married. That means as my husband, he has a legal claim to all of it. All the money I've earned for myself.
Oh, he wouldn't.
What?
Take your money.
Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. He was always very weird about money. Very controlling.
You can trust him.
But that's my point. I don't want to have to trust him. I can't be tied to him. I can't be always looking over my shoulder, worrying about... That's what I left. That's what I ended by walking through that door.
What about me?
What about you?
You're saying what? That I don't matter?
No,
He'll kick me out.
No, he won't.
Here I am, the one total innocent in all of this.
Is that so?
I think I certainly am.
What makes you innocent?
Aren't I?
You're saying you have nothing to do with this problem?
You're saying that I
You're
have
not
something
doing
to...
anything to help fix this problem.
After all the problems I've already fixed for you, I have to fix this too? Is that what you're really saying? Fuck you, Nora. Fuck you. You have zero gratitude. I raised your kids. You should be coming in here. First words out of your mouth should have been, thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you for abandoning your own life, your own child, and raising mine, so that I can go off to do my little thing.
I didn't ask you to do that. I didn't make you stay. I left. You decided to stay. I'm grateful you stayed, but that was not your responsibility.
But how?
It was your choice, not your responsibility.
But how could I leave?
Just like I did.
I'm not as cold as you.
You had even less reason to stay. It should have been easier for you than me.
It was my job, Nora. If I didn't do what I did, 3 very young children were going to be left alone.
They had Torvald.
A father, but no mother.
Is that not enough? Men leave their families. It happens all the time. A mother, but no father. But now, if a woman does it, the children are ruined, and she's a monster.
Far as I'm concerned, either way, it's bad.
Also, and I'm just going to put this out there, you do realize you kind of did the same thing I did.
How did I do the same thing?
You had your own child, and you left her to take care of another mother's child. You chose to love someone else's child who was not your own, and that's okay. But don't tell me we're different. We're the same.
No, we're not. I didn't have a father with money like you had a father with money. I didn't have the same options you had. Do you think I wanted to leave my home and become a nanny? My options were what? Working in a factory and wearing my body down to the point of uselessness at an early age. Or I could go out and be a prostitute.
Yes. No, you're right.
I would never, ever have left my child if I didn't absolutely have to.
But I did. And you may not believe this, but I had to leave. And leaving my children was the hardest part. It was the part of what I did that I hate the most. It hurts. It still hurts. Don't you think for a moment that I didn't think about sending them a little letter, a little note saying, hello, Mommy's thinking of you. Mommy loves you. Mommy misses you very much. Or on a birthday or Christmas of sending them a gift. I did. Anne-Marie, for the first couple of years, I bought them gifts. I had a little pile of gifts for them sitting in the corner of my room. I'd buy them gifts, and I'd be just about to send it, And then I wouldn't. Because I knew that although sending a gift would make me feel very good, for them it could be because I thought about them thinking about me, thinking about how they would wonder about me, and thinking I wanted to answer all of their questions. Better for there to be nothing, for there to be silence, than this thing that's somewhere halfway in between, because that, Anne-Marie, would be cruel. A wound has to be allowed to heal, and no matter how strong our desire, our urge to touch it, it's not good for the healing. Do you understand? Do you? What I did wasn't easy. It was hard. It took discipline. And I had to think past the feelings and what was best for everyone involved. And because of you, yes, because of what you gave up, my children felt loved. And I am grateful. You say I'm not, but I am. And I'm so sorry if I did not make you feel that. Anne-Marie, I have money, and I can give you a kind of freedom. I can buy you your own house. I can give you a lump sum of money that, provided you invest it wisely, you'll never have to work again. You're on some kind of, I'm sure, tiny allowance, trickling out just enough money to get you to the end of the month. Isn't that true? And when I look at you, you look so tired and worn, and when you walk, you limp, and you say you have problems with your stomach. And in exchange, Torvald gives you a tiny room in the back. I can give you a better life, and I promise you it's not conditional. You help me or not, that's up to you. Can I do that for you? Will you let me do that?
No, I don't want your money. It's too late in life to up and... Option 3.
What?
Option 3. You said you're looking for a third option for handling the problem with Torvald. I know a third option. Would you like to know what it is?
Yes.
It means you'll have to do the thing I think you're most scared to do. But if you want what you want...
What is it?
Meet your daughter.
No.
Oh, wait.
No, it's not a good idea.
Hear me out.
I'm like a stranger to her.
Listen, you were not able to convince Torvald to agree to a divorce, and I would never be able to convince him either. Our words mean nothing to him. But Emmy, she can be very persuasive. I think you'll be impressed. You know, I raised her to be very resourceful, just like I raised you. And I think maybe she would have a good idea of what could be done.
I think that could be very confusing, the way things are. There's a balance we have between us that I wouldn't want to upset.
Oh, she's an adult. There's no damage you can do, not now. She has a life outside of you, and she's happy in that life. I think you aggrandize yourself. Hey, I have nothing to gain from you meeting with her or not. You ask me what will get you what you're looking for. This is what will do it. It's the only option.
Hello. I'm Emmy. I'm your daughter.
Yes, I know.
It's very nice to meet you.
You too. I hope you're all right with this.
With this?
meeting me. I hope it isn't strange or upsetting.
No, not at all.
Good. I was worried it would be.
Why?
Well, I've never been a part of your life.
This counts as being a part of my life?
No, but a step towards seems potentially, I don't know, harmful. I don't want to do any harm.
No. I don't think us doing this, meeting, I don't think it does any harm.
Okay, good. Well,
And just so you know, I feel no animosity towards you.
oh, well, that's nice to hear.
But this is exciting. Meeting you is.
Yes,
I don't remember you at all.
I didn't think you would. You were very little, very
For
small.
the longest time, I thought you were dead.
Well, you're not the first person to tell me that.
I mean, everyone thought you died. Everyone in town, everyone.
Is that so?
Yeah, except obviously Anne-Marie, Torvald, my brothers. But I did. For a long time.
So, when did you...
Oh, when I was 7 or 8.
I see.
My brothers told me. Well, they remembered things that I didn't or couldn't. They told me about how you left. I didn't believe them at first. Sounded like the kind of thing you say to avoid telling a kid the harder truth. But Ivor said that if I didn't believe them, that I could go down to the local clerk's office, where they keep all the records, birth records, death records. And he said that if I looked for your death certificate, there wouldn't be one. And I went to school with a boy whose father worked in the clerk's office. And this boy, he liked me. So I acted like I liked him back, and I got him to let me into the office one night. And I looked through all the records, and there was no death certificate. And then I knew that you weren't dead. You just left. Bob and Ivor told me that maybe someday you'd come back, and that we should be ready for it. But that you would come and that you would take us with you, and that you would be a lot more fun to live with than Torvald, who, oh, he's not bad. But fun isn't the word I would use to describe.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's kind of adorable, his sort of, oh, I don't know what to call it.
Gloom.
No, that's not quite. Bob remembered you best.
Oh, Bob.
Bob missed you the most. Bob could draw. I asked Bob if he would draw a picture of you. He wouldn't. Ivor said it was probably because if he did, Bob would start crying, and Bob never liked to be seen crying because he thought crying made his face look fat.
Yes, I do remember that about Bob. About the, oh, not the fat face thing, but about the crying. He doesn't still do that?
He does.
Poor Bob.
Ivor, on the other hand,
The opposite of Bob.
in every way.
Yes.
Now tell me something you remember about me.
You?
Yes.
Well, what should I... Oh, here's something. When you were born,
Yes.
I had you very fast. You came right out of me like you were racing to get out of the world, like you couldn't wait. The boys, they were very slow. Oh, I was in labor for, oh God, it was terrible. But you were very easy. So, you can put that in your book of memories.
And tell me something about you.
Like what?
Oh, I don't know. Are you happy?
Yes, very.
What makes you happy?
My work makes me happy. I like my house. I have a nice little house. It's by a lake. It's quiet.
That sounds nice.
And are you happy, Emmy?
I am.
What makes you happy?
All sorts of things. I have enough money. I have enough food. You know, physically I'm fine. There aren't problems with my health.
That's good.
I actually think in a lot of ways things turned out better because you weren't around. I think I'm better at life because of it. Well, I had a lot more responsibility. I had to deal with some difficult truths about life at an earlier age than you usually have to deal with those types of things. I feel bad for the kids who growing up had the usual life. I feel special.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm happy. that
People
you're-
say I'm an old soul.
Yes, yes. You seem very adult, Very grown up. Very impressive.
Thank you. And you? Well, you've done well because of it too, haven't you?
What do you mean?
Anne-Marie told me that you have your own money and that you write books.
I do.
I find that very interesting.
I'll send you one.
Oh, I don't really read books. I never could get interested in. I get bored easily. It's...
And so, Emmy, did Anne-Marie also tell you why I was here?
All I know is that you and Torvald were supposed to be divorced, but you found out you're not, and you're trying to get Torvald to file the divorce, but he won't do it.
That's pretty much it.
And I'm guessing what you want from me is for me to go to him and convince him to do the thing that he's refusing to do?
Yes, that's... I was just thinking, if you were to go to him, tell him that this is what's right for him.
Uh-huh.
For everyone. Tell him that it's all right. There's no point in wrecking everything he's built. Tell him to do it for you.
But it's not for me.
Of course it's for you. The whole family. And you and Bob and Ivor and the kind of, I don't know, disgrace that could come as a result of, it could make the whole family look very bad. And I don't know if Anne-Marie told you this, but there's this judge who's threatening to...
Yes, I know.
Right. So, I can understand if you have concerns. Let me try to address some of those. Maybe you don't know how to approach this matter with Torvald. I can understand that, yes, it could be awkward. What do you say? You go to him out of the blue. I think you should give Nora the divorce she's asking for. He'll think you talked to me and I'd put you up to it.
But aren't you?
What?
Putting me up to it.
So you say instead, you don't tell him we met. Say instead that you heard from Anne-Marie about my problem. Well, you did. It's true. Anne-Marie told you what she told you. And tell him that you got to thinking about the situation and my dilemma and what it could mean to Torvald, how it could look really bad, get him in a bad spot with his reputation, and explain to him that you think it's best to just let me go. Just let it all go and file for the divorce. If you can show him how he's making this worse on himself, if you can leave me out of it, because I don't think Torvald will do what Torvald does for my sake, that his interests are...
Or what? What do you think his interests?
Honestly, isn't that apparent? I think he doesn't want to let me go. I think there's some part of him that's hoping that I'll come back to him, that there will be a reconciliation.
Did he propose a reconciliation? No. See, I think you're very wrong, and that you've made a lot of assumptions, and that you don't know what you're doing. You think you do, but you... And it's not your fault, but I need to correct you.
Correct me.
Torvald did something really stupid. I know that he's still, technically speaking, married to you. And I'm not saying that none of this is his fault. There's fault on his part, for sure. But basically, what happened when you left, people noticed. And of course they noticed. And people would ask, where's Nora? And Torvald, well, I'm sure you could guess, he was pretty upset about it, felt pretty private about it, didn't want to talk about it. It was embarrassing. People ask him where you are, and he'd have to say you left him. It would be awkward, both for him and for the person asking. So at first, when people asked, he'd say that you had gone away, left town, visiting family, something like that. He really didn't say much about it. He didn't want to lie. But then, when about 2 or so months had gone by and you were still gone, I mean, I don't know exactly how it happened. Obviously, I was so little, I wasn't aware of what was happening. But someone made the assumption that you weren't well, that you had gotten sick. And Torvald didn't say no. So that's the story that went around, that you were gone and you were sick and recovering at a sanitarium. And then another month or so passes and someone somewhere says something or makes the assumption that it's worse than that, and that you hadn't recovered and that you were no longer alive. And Torvald, Now he's so far in, and to explain the truth. I mean, I know it's a weak thing he did, but he had his job at the bank, and he was a very well-respected member of the community, very well-liked, trusted. To have to explain such an embarrassing set of truths and misunderstandings and so on. And so he said nothing. And by saying nothing, he was sort of saying something, which is that you had died. And once people came to think that, that's when... Oh, well, you know what happens when that happens. There's an outpouring of affection and support. People visited. They brought food. They really rallied around him and us, the whole family. And there's also some government support for the families. There's some money you get. Of course, there was no death certificate ever filed, but these things happen. Mistakes, oversights, just because of the way that people found out, this gradual sort of realization that that's what it was. And because Torvald is well-respected, well-liked, and because he runs the bank, you see, it's a problem, you being here, doing what you're doing. Do you?
No, I don't.
It's fraud. Technically it is, it's fraud, and Torvald could be tried. He could lose everything, just like you, and that's why he can't give you your divorce. But there is another option. You die.
What?
Let me ask you, who have you seen while you've been in town? Me, Anne-Marie, Torvald. Anyone else?
No.
Good. Remember how I told you there's no death certificate? What if there was one? What if, using what connections I have, that piece of paper were to just show up in the files of the local clerk's office? You see? If you're dead, there is no marriage.
Does Torvald know about this idea?
No. This is my idea. I came up with it myself. It's clever, isn't it?
It is.
Thank you. So will you do it then? Will you... Well, what reason do you have for not doing it? I can't think of one, can you?
You'd be committing forgery
Yes.
of public records.
Sure.
The kind of trouble that you...
No one will find out.
I do have experience with this kind of thing. And you'd be surprised at how these kinds of things can just sort of come to light at the worst possible time.
But if Torvald's lie is exposed...
But how is that right? How is it right that Torvald lies and I'm the one paying for it? And you're paying for it? And I'm expected to be the one to lose everything because...
It's just that I'm engaged.
Ah.
To a man
I see.
named Jorgen.
Jorgen.
He's a banker.
Of course he
He
is.
works with Torvald. And if you cause a scandal, he won't be able to marry me. And there goes my future, gone. You don't like that, do you?
What?
That I'm getting married. You think no one should get married?
No,
Anne-Marie told me, don't bring up Jorgen. But it seemed weird not to tell you, because we're in love. I know you probably don't believe in being in love.
But I do. I do believe it. It's not that I don't believe in love, Emmy. It's just that love is different from marriage. Marriage is this binding contract, and love has to be the opposite of a contract. It has to be free. And it is free until the moment you marry. And then something changes. You're no longer as free as you once were, because you go from being two separate people to something more like one person. And because you get swallowed up. And because of the way the world is, it's you who will get swallowed up into him. And anything that you want for yourself will have to be part of what he wants. And he's going to expect that from you.
Jorgen is very kind. Very...
So was Torvald. It has nothing to do with kindness. It has to do with what people do and have always done and don't even bother to question. What do you even know about marriage?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Because you left, I know nothing about what a marriage is and what it looks like. But I do know what the absence of it looks like, and what I want is the opposite of that. I want to be held. I want to be possessed. I want to be somebody's something. And I can see you cringe when I say what I'm saying, but that's about you, and it's not about me. And I'm telling you what I want, and you may want something different for yourself, but don't make my wants about your wants. But you're telling me I don't want what I want?
Emmy, I'm telling you that I once wanted what you wanted, only to find out that once I got what I wanted, that it was definitely not what I wanted.
But you don't know that it will be the same with me. I'm not you.
I have a feeling you're a lot like me.
No.
The kinds of things you're saying are the kinds of things I said.
You don't even know me. You came back here for the first time in 15 years and you didn't want to see me.
No.
The only reason you're even talking to me is because you want something from me.
No.
You're telling me that's not why you wanted to see me?
Yes, I did come here to ask you for some help.
See?
But you think I didn't want to see you?
You don't ask me any questions.
Because I don't know where to begin.
How do you think it makes me feel to know that the only reason my mother wants to see me is to get me to fix a problem for her? You've never given me anything. This is the only thing I'm asking for.
It would put you at terrible risk.
And what about you? You talked to me about the kind of trouble I could get into by forging a death certificate. I imagine the trouble you're facing is worse. Aren't you scared?
What scares me more is the thought of you doing everything that I did, that I wish I didn't do. That's worse. Because that means everything I've done since walking out that door means nothing.
Everything you've done, which is what?
The books I've written.
These books that tell women to leave their marriages.
If they're feeling stuck.
And they do?
Some of them do.
And how is that good? How many women have left their husbands because of you? How many women have left their children? How many women have left their husbands and children and gotten themselves into the same kind of trouble you're in right now? It's like you've saved everyone from a drowning boat but left them no way to get back to shore. I actually think it's good to be stuck in a marriage. It's the fact that we're bound together, that it's difficult to leave, that actually makes people stick around and try. I think, well, because if things keep on going the way you say they should, then what will that look like? A future where everyone is leaving each other? Where in a lifetime one person will have been with, what, 4, 5, 6 people, but always just skating through their lives? Never able to settle or slow or experience anything that takes any real difficult time. Never finding a home. Never finding a place to rest. A person to rest with. Never finding someone who knows you, and that sounds, well, what do I know? But that sounds so sad and so lonely. And so deeply unsatisfying, this future where we're all just nomads. Is that really what you want? You let me do this for you. Nora Helmer will officially be dead. You leave here, you move somewhere quiet, you stay quiet for a couple of years. This trouble with the judge, it will eventually pass, and then you'll be free. Free of Nora Helmer. That's what you've always wanted from the very beginning, isn't it? When you walked out that door, you wanted to find out who you really were. You found that person. You don't need Nora Helmer anymore. She's dead. And now, you really get to be reborn as this new person you've created, and me and Torvald and my brothers can go on living lives without you. Nora,
right. This scheming, this lying, this is what I left behind.
Where are you going?
You say I've never given you anything, but you don't know what I've given you. Because what I'm trying to do for you, the kind of world I'm trying to make for you, it hasn't happened yet. And it's not going to happen if I let you or Torvald fix this problem for me. No. I'm going to have to do it myself. If that judge wants me to publish a letter, then I'll do it. And I will tell everyone, yes, I am a criminal and I am not sorry. I will go and face the people who are telling me what I can and can't do, and I will show them there's nothing they can do to me.
They can put you in prison.
It doesn't matter, because I'm already in a prison if I'm having to rely on Torvald to give me a divorce. If I'm having to hide behind a pseudonym. If I'm weird, beholden to all of these bad rules is what they are. There are so many bad rules in the world, Emmy. I am not going to follow these bad rules. This is my chance to change the rules. Because 20, 30 years from now, the world is not going to be the kind of place I say it's going to be unless I'm the one to make it that way.
Torvald's been attacked!
What?
Who found him like this, walking through the streets like this, like a crazy person?
I'll go get some bandages.
Blood coming out of his head, people on the street staring at him. Everyone's going to think you've gone out of your mind. Oh my. This is all your fault. None of this would have happened if you didn't come here. I never should have answered your letter. I never should have said that it was all right for you to come here.
Anne-Marie, why don't you, I don't know, just go take a walk. You too, Emmy. We should talk.
I see.
So, Anne-Marie told me that you write these little books.
Little.
No, I didn't mean it as a... I meant just, she said this is what you do now. So I was curious. And I walked into a bookstore and I asked the man in the bookstore, what is this book that the women are reading? I would like to read that book. And he said, well, you must be thinking of this book. And he hands me the book and it doesn't have your name on it, so I figured it's a...
Pseudonym.
Yes, right. So I bought the book, and I took it with me to the fjord. And I sat on the rock, and I read the book, the whole thing from beginning to end. The book was about you, and it was about me, and it was about all the things that happened between us. And it was hard for me to read it.
It was hard for me to live it.
I sat there reading, thinking every so often, oh, I remember that. I forgot that. And some of the parts made me really mad.
Like what?
I come off pretty badly in this book. I come off as a real... I'm going to read some parts out loud.
Just say what you...
He looked at me with a look of condescension. You say things like that often. He sneered. He pontificated. But this is the one that really... I lived in terror of my husband. He didn't so much look at me as much as he looked through me. I didn't exist. Yes, he doted on me, but he only doted because the act of doting made him feel good. But you could have substituted in for me any woman. It didn't matter. Once I asked him what he liked about me. He told me he liked everything. I pressed for more. He said I was pretty. He said I was his. He said I was perfect. This is why I lived in terror.
Not because he was violent, he wasn't. Not because he ever threatened my life, he never did. Unless you count living with someone who can't see you as life-threatening, which in a way it is. That hurts. Because I am not like that. Not now.
It's not about how you are now.
I think about dying. I think about how when I die, which will be someday sooner than later, and I think about what it is I'm leaving behind, what mark I've made, and I think about how this is it. I think about how this is the story that will be told about me, and that's it. And I don't want that to be it. So, I went to the clerk's office this morning.
You did?
I told the clerk, I'm here to file a divorce.
Oh, Torvald.
Let me finish. He didn't understand because...
He thought I was dead.
Oh, you know about...
Yes.
He thought I was crazy. He said, Torvald, you think you've seen a ghost? I said, no. I said, I've been lying. There's a pile of lies. I've been lying, and that's done. I won't lie. I'll face the consequences. I even told him, if you don't believe me, go and find a death certificate. And he said, oh, well, if there's no death certificate, then he should go and make one. And he's taking out the papers to write up the death certificate, and it's as if he's ending your life in front of my eyes.
And did he?
No. I grabbed the pen from his hand. And in grabbing the pen, I knocked him to the ground. And this clerk, he is not a small man. He's younger than me, stronger than me. He grabs me, he's holding me down, and I'm fighting back and trying to break free. And then now this fight, it's bigger than itself. And I'm fighting for my life. And he pushes me, and I fall, and in my head it's the ground where there's a bit of stone, and it cuts into my head. I can hear the skull crack. Now he's horrified. He's backing away, and I think he's actually crying, and he says, Torvald, what have you turned into? What are you? And I said to the clerk, you will give me my divorce. He nodded, because he understood that this was about more than it was about. He could have had me locked up, but he understood. And this is it. I made this for you, to make everything right by ruining myself, by exposing a pile of lies that I've been hiding for 15 years. I'll probably lose my job, and I'll lose my friends, and lose my salary, but I did it so that I won't be remembered the way that you remember me when I'm gone. You can even go and write a new book where I'm a better man. Take it. You won't take it.
Thank you. Thank you, Torvald. I appreciate what you've done, but I don't need it anymore.
What?
The divorce. I don't need it, but I really do appreciate everything that you've done.
I can't win with you. I can't win. I can't fucking win with you.
There's nothing to win. Stop trying to win.
I'm just trying to be a good guy here.
You go and make everything about you. You even made my book about you.
Oh, I'm in there, aren't I?
It's my book, my thoughts, my feelings.
Oh, come on,
my
I
experience,
gave you
my
what
life.
you wanted.
Yeah, because you wanted to look good.
No, you were in trouble.
Yes, because of you.
You were in
Because of your
trouble,
lies,
and
your
I tried to
cowardice.
save you.
I don't need a fucking savior.
You have no idea what this cost me.
You have no idea what this cost me.
No, I'm ruined because I tried to do the right thing.
I bet you wanted to be ruined.
Oh, that's insane.
You love it when people
Ah,
get back
fuck
to
you.
Have to nurse you back to health. That's your whole life. Everybody giving up everything for Torvald. Same thing as always. You haven't changed a bit.
don't know what to do around you. I don't know how to behave. What happened? You used to be so... You were a different person. And I find it incredibly disturbing when I look inside you. I can't even see the person that I used to know. I think I miss you, Nora. Well, I know you don't think I see you, that I don't know who you are, but I don't know, maybe in the same way that I made assumptions about you, you made assumptions about me. And maybe I would like who you really are, and maybe I didn't like what you thought I liked. I, in fact, kind of found some of those things pretty annoying. I don't know, it's just... It's so hard.
What is?
This! Being with people.
Yes.
Does it have to be so hard, really? You said that there have been others since me.
There were
Who were they?
all sorts of people. Some were important, some weren't. Some stand out in my mind, some sort of just fade. There was a painter, and there was another banker. There was an architect. And then there was the man who built the houses the architect designed. There was a man, a very young man. I thought it would be interesting to have a relationship with a very young man.
Was it?
No.
There was a woman.
There was?
Don't be so surprised. She was a widow, lived 3 houses down. After her husband died, she used to come over for dinner. We'd play cards.
Who was it? Sophia?
Yes.
Her?
What? What?
I can't picture it. I'm trying, I just can't picture
The
it.
kids liked her. She liked the kids. And I just couldn't because I was afraid. You say you've become so honest. So be honest with me now. I'm talking about 2 people spending time together, figuring out how to be with each other. Is that a true marriage? Because before you walked out that door, I remember that's what you said you wanted. So, have you ever experienced that with anyone? Be honest with me.
No.
I haven't either. I don't want to die without having ever experienced that.
Then go have it. I want you to have that.
What about you?
When I left here, Torvald, 15 years ago, the first thing I did, because I had nothing, no home, no family, no money, was I went and lived in a boarding house. And because I had no real skills other than I could sew things, I did that and made money sewing. And bit by bit, I saved up enough because what I really wanted to do for the first time in my life, be by myself. So when I saved up enough money, I left the boarding house and I went and lived up north. I found what was basically an abandoned shack. And even though I was living by myself, for everything I did, for every decision I made, from what I ate to when I went to bed, I could always hear a voice in the back of my head. And this voice sounded either like you or my father or the pastor or any number of other people I knew. And I somehow always managed to check in with that person to see what he thought, even though that person wasn't a person, but my thinking of that person. And so, for as long as that continued, I decided I'd live in silence, not speaking, and avoiding the speaking of others. And I'd lived like this until I could no longer remember what other people sounded like, until there was no longer a voice in my head other than my voice, or what I was certain had to be my voice. And once I could hear my voice, I could think of things I wanted that had nothing to do with what anyone else wanted. That was almost 2 years. 2 years of silence. It's really hard to hear your own voice. And for every lie you tell, makes your voice harder to hear. And a lot of what we do is lying. Especially when what we want so badly is for other people to love us. So I find I'm best. I'm my best self when I'm by myself. But it's nice to sit with you.
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right. I'm ready.
For what?
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this again. I'm ready to walk out that door and away from this house and off into the... And I know I'm going to have to fight a lot of people all over again, and harder than before. And I might lose everything I have. But I've done that before, and I can do it again. The world didn't change as much as I thought it would. But I know that someday everything will be different and everyone will be free. Freer than they are now.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah. Well, I just hope I live to see it.